Hey, good morning. We're live. Hello, everybody.
Yellow.
Welcome in to another episode of Morning Ritual, our TTRPG talk show that generally tries not to go off the rails, but we don't guarantee anything. Um, uh, I'm Anita. I'm one of your hosts. My pronouns are she, they, and down here is on the overlay.
Oh yeah, that's me. Hi, I'm Noir Heavey. I think that's the smoothest intro we've had in the 3 years that we've done this. So hey, we're getting there. And today we have a very special guest with us today. Johnny, please introduce yourself.
Hey guys, Johnny Stanton. My pronouns are he, him, and happy to be here. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I am a NFL football player who is currently unemployed, but hoping to get back on a team very quickly. I spent the last 2 years at the Cleveland Browns playing fullback, and in that time, I kind of revealed to the world that I'm a big TTRPG nerd, which has been very cool to kind of be brought into that community and to have everybody know that. Last few years have kind of been crazy with kind of people realizing that there's a professional athlete who plays D&D, which there have been in the past, but I guess I'm the first one who like has talked about it during my career and has kind of like made it part of his brand. So I'm loving this brand that I've created for myself.
I've got so many questions.
Please. I'll hope to answer all of them.
Man, we could use. I'm a Chicago Bears fan, so you should just immediately know that I'm in eternal suffering. But no, I just I have to wonder, like, how did that like affect affect the locker room when it became such a thing that you're like that you're becoming like this nerd icon.
Oh man, that is very generous. But I so the first time it really came up was I had posted when I signed with the Cleveland Browns back in January of 2020. Whenever you sign with a new team, a bunch of fans who are like really in on social media will like try to follow you and like just get to know you. Yeah. And I remember one of the questions being like, what is something about you that nobody really knows that we might not know about you? I said, well, I'm a big Dungeons and Dragons fan. Which kind of caused this big explosion. It's like, what? Like, there's a nerd on the team. Like, you guys, you should, do a live play with the your teammates. You should do all this stuff. I'm like, I need to meet them first. I haven't even been there yet. So, obviously, 2020, we didn't meet at the beginning of the year, but we did end up getting together during training camp, and it was really hard to be able to, become friends with my teammates. It was such a hard environment with COVID rules and restrictions. So, I was looking for any opportunity I had to be able to, make some connections with teammates. And people had mentioned, Miles Garrett's like a big like nerd. Like he loves anime. He's like the biggest dinosaur fan that I know. Like he has dinosaur bones all around his house. Studied paleontology over at Texas A&M. Like you should go ask him like if he wants to play D&D. So I'm like, okay, well, Miles is big time, former number 1 overall pick. He's not the guy that you go to your first day on the job and try to become friends with. You kind of got to make it natural. So I didn't know if Miles would be into it, and then during training camp one day, I saw Miles wearing a Stranger Things shirt, and I think it was like his second or third time wearing it. I'm like, okay, he might be like really into this. So I go up to him and say, hey, have you ever like played the game like that they play in Stranger Things, like Dungeons and Dragons? He's like, no, I didn't know that was like something that they like still play. I thought it was just like an 80s thing. Like, no, it's like as big as ever now. So he's like, okay, yeah, I'd be down to play. So, then the goal is to try to find a couple other people who want to play. I went to like the resident ham on the team, Wyatt Teller, and like, hey, would you be into this? Because I made a connection with him. Along with Kendall Lamb, who used to be on the team, and we had a little D&D group that we ended up going for a couple of years with. That turned into a sports Illustrated article, and honestly, still more to come out in this month. So, and I don't want to spoil anything, but
that's awesome.
Some very cool stuff. That like some storylines, a charity game that sold out in Cleveland. It was very fun to have that be part of like like not like even more than like a footnote in my like Browns career. It's like Johnny Stanton. He scored a touchdown on Thursday Night Football, and he brought Dungeons and Dragons to the Browns. Like that's what I'll be remembered as, and that's fine. Like I like that being my legacy. I'm totally okay with that. So yeah, that's kind of how it all happened. And guys would have their questions like, what is this D&D thing that you're doing? And I kind of explained it to them as best I can. It's like, well, it's like a board game, but it's not. It's like a video game, but it's like you get all these options. You can do whatever you want. It's like very overwhelming when you describe it like that. So I didn't have that many people joining the games, but it was there were a couple people who were interested, and scheduling with other professional athletes is like very hard thing to do just as part of our lives. Yeah. So I think in total we had like 7 sessions like overall, but we had a character death. We had we went through a whole like story arc with what we did, and it was all homebrewed. It was all stuff that I had designed. So yeah, it was very fun kind of practice, and just opportunity to be able to grow closer to my teammates.
That's awesome.
So how did you get into Dungeons and Dragons, if you don't mind me asking? I'm sure you get this all the time.
Yeah, so when I was in college, actually, you know what? I think going back to my senior year of high school, I had torn my ACL. We were like ranked top 5 in the country in my high school. Like we just won the state championship in California. I just committed to the University of Nebraska. Things are going great. And then I turned my ACL. And I really felt like I needed some way to figure out, like, fill out my time. I was never a huge video games guy before that. So I started getting into video games. That's when Injustice came out. And I realized, like, oh my God, like, I never really realized this about myself. I love superheroes. And this was like, I like the Marvel movies, but like, I really want to get into it now. I want to read all the background for like what these characters are actually like, the history that they've built up. So kind of starting in my freshman year of college, I start like just reading every comic book I can, going all the way through to like 4 years later. I'm at UNLV. I transferred twice, but the whole time I'm going to my local comic book shop on Wednesdays to keep up with my favorite books. And finally, I just kind of discover it. I knew everybody kind of knows of the term Dungeons and Dragons. And I remember watching like one of my favorite YouTube channels called Node. They had played a campaign of Dungeons and Dragons, and I had watched through it. I'm like, okay, this sounds actually like super fun. I'd be down to try this, but I don't know anybody who plays. So I figured just go to my local comic book shop, see if anybody over there plays. And I asked them, it's like, yeah, actually, we just started a new group last Sunday. You should join them. So that was my first D&D group. And ever since then, I've been trying to evangelize it to like my friends and teammates, anybody that I can. I just ran a session last night for my fiance and her 2 brothers. That's been going on for 2 years now. I first started DMing for my teammates over at UNLV, which went for a couple sessions. I've been playing for, I think, a good 5 or 6 years. I'm definitely like a 5th edition, like, like from the start, but so I'm not like any kind of OG guy who's like, but I think it also brings me in at a great time because D&D has grown so much in this time and has become like, I was never part of it when it was like oh, it's just like this little like thing that you kind of have to hide, and like I felt like I have to hide it a little bit at the very beginning, but now I definitely don't have to. But I want to bring in as many people as possible, like the TTRPGs. So like the gatekeeping of it has like never really made sense to me, because the more people who play, like the easier it is to find a group, and that's always the hardest thing to do with D&D.
So do you have a favorite class? I'm very curious. Like, I'm not a very physical dude, so I love playing like physical characters. I'm wondering if it might be vice versa for you.
Yeah, I mean, I think like most people, I try to vary what I play as much as possible. Just thinking of a cool character background and idea for each of the different classes sounds very fun for me. I've played a lizard folk artificer who makes his power armor with the bones that he's collected of like the kills that he's had. I've made a lawyer half elf who is a bard. The character I'm playing right now is a tiefling paladin who's actually a subclass that I've written myself. And but I keep coming back to Warlocks. I think I played Warlocks more than anything else, just because the background and like the story arc and ideas are, like, always come so easily to me. So like, you say that you're not like a super physical guy, so you like playing physical characters. I guess that I'm kind of like the opposite. Although, I might throw a Hexblade in there every once in a while.
Oh, Hexblades are so sweet, like especially with the grasp of Hadar. But anyway, so like you mentioned, like you made your own subclasses. So are you getting into game design? Like, is that something that we can expect from you coming out?
I'd like it to be. I've actually just had these conversations very recently. I definitely want to kind of start getting in on DM's Guild, posting stuff there. I do want to post this subclass to the DM's Guild. It's called the Oath of the Executioner. So like, it's a super like kind of dark paladin subclass that I'm having fun playing right now. I don't know if it's balanced. I feel like I have a good idea if it's balanced or not. Like, I don't feel overpowered, but who knows? Yeah, like, I design my own magic items for my home game. These last 2 years of running games for my family, we've gotten, I think, 50 sessions or so far, and all of it has been homebrew, besides starting with Dragon of Icespire Peak. Like, that's like, we did the first like couple sessions of that, and I'm like, very quickly, I'm like, I want to do my own thing now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
So
get bit by
I
the
love
homebrew
it.
bug, and it's really hard to get rid
Oh,
of
I
it.
know. I can't do other like pre-made modules now. Like, it's impossible for me to do. I love getting inspiration from them, but otherwise it's like it's impossible for me to do. So yeah, I've been having a lot of fun working on it on my own, and I think that I have a whole lot more free time now that I can kind of commit to my other interests and my other possibilities moving forward in the TTRPG world.
So I have to ask, what are your opinions on, like, why do you think D&D is getting so popular? Like, I mean, I know part of it is just that we do have more notable figures from different aspects of pop culture in general getting into it. But I'm wondering, if you have any insights on why you think that's happening?
Oh man, I think there is well, first off, the rise of fifth edition. From what I understood, this is a different take, 'cause I've never played 3.5 or third edition or advanced or whatever. But the rise of fifth has made it a lot more user friendly, a lot easier to get into, despite even if that's very relative. And having that coincide with the rise of Stranger Things, which was the biggest show in the world at the time, and still kind of is, and having that be a big focus of that of the themes of that episode of that season, was, I think, a great like kickstart to D&D as in the world. And this was all still before like me joining up in like D&D as as a player. But as far as the kind of the psychology of it goes, I imagine that, like, and this is probably just making things up, but when video games were first kind of introduced, it was such a, and this is off the top of my head, this is something I've just thought about. It's not something that I've had like a lot of like insight on. But when video games were first introduced as like like moving forward and trade, like all these different games that kind of, you get these options on what you can do, but it was such a new technology and a new thing that you could do, that I think people were probably just enjoying the fact that they could have these options despite them being limited. And now with the rise of games like Skyrim and GTA, and you get all of these different possibilities that you can do, but you still can't do everything, So I think people just continue wanting more and more of like just freedom within their games. And I'm sure we're going to get to a point where, video games are going to just like, you want to just like do whatever you want. Like, this is basically just like Second Life, but like to the max.
Yeah.
That's pretty, I'm sure that's what the metaverse is trying to be. But I think there might be just like a hunger for more and more freedom and more options to be able to do within these like storytelling devices.
Yeah, I mean, the freedom of TTRPGs. I mean that's what everybody always brings up, like seducing the dragon or doing like just doing things that the DM is gonna have a rough time coming up with how you're gonna do that.
Oh yeah.
All right, so there are a couple of questions that we ask all of our guests, and I'm gonna hit you with the first one now, which is, there is a silent war going on in the TTRPG community between people who think that dice are the forbidden candy, that they put them in their mouth and just kind of chew on them. They call it crunching. And then there are those of us who think that that's a safety hazard and you shouldn't put dice in your mouth. We have asked almost every guest we have had on this show. So Johnny, I need to know, what side of this war are you on? Do you crunch your dice, or is it very strictly don't put dice in your mouth, goofies?
It's funny. The other night, I think it was only like 2 nights ago, I saw this one link on on Twitter to like this, basically like a personality type of quiz where it gives you a bunch of options. And one of the questions, I'd never like had this thought before, but like one of the questions was, what is your forbidden snack or forbidden candy or whatever? And there were options like colorful beads. There were like, I think Tide Pods was probably an answer. Like glass on a beach. Like all these different like colorful, soft looking things that look like they'd be great to snack on. And I think dice probably should have been on that list. But we'll get there eventually. But no, personally, I don't have that kind of like oral fixation to put everything in my mouth.
Thank you.
So I'm going to say I'm not team forbidden candy for the dice. I don't think I've ever found myself putting dice in my mouth as a habit. So I'm going to end up on that side. But I understand, like, some people just like, it's, how sharks like, you're like, oh, they only bite you because they want to like taste you and their taste buds are behind their teeth. It's like, sometimes you just need like something in your mouth. I get it.
Not dice. Not dice. We can't support this. Not.
I don't want to yuck anybody's yum. As long as nobody gets, chokes from it.
You're a better man than me.
Taste buds behind. That's kind of how tongues work. They're always behind teeth. Oh.
How fucked up would it be if you had taste buds on your teeth?
It's too early for that kind of talk.
You're the one that wanted a morning show. I mean, so the reason that I asked that is we like I said, we've had on people, just everybody, and we always ask them, and generally it's split pretty evenly. We have had a couple of guests, one in particular that works for a dice company, that her entire goal is to make dice look as delectable as possible so that more people eat them.
Did she say so more people who eat them? Because I feel like there is a. Oh, she did say that. Okay.
Yeah. It was a Bria.
Oh yeah,
it was a Bria.
I'll shave her. A Bria.
I love a Bria.
Out here working for Big Die, trying to get people.
One of the things that she
sounds
was
like a Bria
into,
too.
She was researching scented inks in order to appropriately evoke the.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there was the I forget what season it was. It had to have been I think it was season 2 of Dimension 20's the high school campaign. I forget the name of it right now. But they
Magic
said
and
those,
Misfits.
no, that was the one, the hero.
Oh, okay.
Fictional fantasy guy. Thank you. I think that they bought candy dice for Brennan. And they kept yelling at him to eat his dice. Go eat your dice, Brennan. And it was such a great recurring joke.
See, but they make edible dice, and I try to get
I know you don't need to
buy edible dice, and they're like, it's not the same.
I think I'm sure the feeling of like the resin like kind of hitting your teeth is probably like, while unpleasant to me, probably is pleasant to somebody. And I don't think you get that same feeling from like a much less dense kind of like sugared hard rock candy.
Yeah, that's why we gotta go to war to stop them.
You continue your war against the forbidden candy people. I'll be watching from the sidelines.
All right, so here's the next question. This is the question that usually like gets guests to go, "Oh, you suck." Uh, if you could play at a table with any 5 people that are alive right now, you get to choose what game you're playing and who's the GM.
Okay.
What's your table look like?
I've had the answer for one of these things. For like answering 5 of them is hard.
Yeah.
Answering one of them is easy because if I could DM for anybody, it would be Marshawn Lynch.
Oh my God! Yes. Yes. Table full of Skittles. Let's go.
And it just, I don't know if you watched him on, oh gosh, what was that Murderville, the Netflix series that was earlier this year, where it's all like an improv murder mystery. It was so funny with him on there, and he would just do so well that it's my goal to have a show where Marshawn Lynch is playing D&D. Oh gosh,
that is the best answer we've had since I started asking this question. Oh my God, Beast Mode playing D&D
it'd be really good. It'd be really good. For those of you who are not football fans, Marshawn Lynch was a former running back who played for the Seahawks, for the Raiders, just a lot of personality. Oh man, I still need to think of 4 more people. I love Abria so much. She's got to be at the table. I got to play with her and got to know her earlier this year when she came to Cleveland for our charity game. She helped headline that.
That's awesome.
My boy Ify Wadaway was there as well. He flew out along with Abria to help us raise some money. So I'll put him on the table too. I think Sam Riegel is one of the funniest people in the world, and I think having him at the table will be great. And not only. I think Sam and I want Sam and Emily Axford at the same table. I think that would be.
Oh my gosh!
I'm sorry.
Very fun.
Sam Riegel, Emily Axford, and Marshawn Lynch at the table. I did not know I wanted until right now.
Yeah, and then add Iffy and Abria, and actually Abria will DM all of us. How about that?
That sounds like chaos, but the best kind of chaos.
Holy
Whatever Abria
smokes.
plans, we will not be doing that. I think we're just going to take Marshawn's lead on that.
Yeah.
Like whatever he wants to do, we'll be doing.
Oh my God! I've never been so mad something doesn't exist. Holy shit!
Who knows? Maybe I can bring D&D to the sports world so much that we can offer enough money to Marshawn that he'd be willing to do it.
Oh, that would. I would donate whatever I have to make that happen. That's a good take. Usually with this question, we get a lot of Dwayne The Rock Johnsons, and Vin Diesels. Like those 2 are the ones that people usually pick.
Sure.
But Marshawn.
Yeah, you have to have some kind of new player in there, somebody who's never done it before.
Yeah. So I have to. I'm very curious. Especially coming into the nerd world from the sports world, what's a preconceived notion that people have of you when you enter the nerd world that is the most annoying? Because like I know when people try to do new things, like whenever like a musician tries to transition to like movies, people always have some stupid shit to say. So like, have you encountered anything like that?
Honestly, no. I've been very welcomed into the D&D world. I get much more often football fans like, what the hell are you talking about, dude? Like, why you like stop tweeting about all this like fantasy stuff? Way more often than people like trying to like push me out of the D&D TTRPG world, which I think is great. I have only really had positive interactions with the D&D world. I know that that's not necessarily like par for the norm, or like I think there's a huge percentage of people who are just absolutely great in this world, and I know that there are a few that kind of ruin it for others, but I have only ever had good interactions with people, which I am very happy about. So no, I don't really have people who are like trying to kick me out of the D&D world. Plus I think I'm fairly certain I'm the first person to bring D&D to Sports Illustrated, which is neat. I got to like mention. I think I got to mention Critical Role. I definitely got to mention the Adventure Zone. Like all this different stuff to pop up in a Sports Illustrated article.
That is also. I never thought D&D would pop up in Sports Illustrated.
Yeah.
It's
funny though, because everybody, there are a lot of people that think like, oh, like D&D, like it's competitive, so it like fit straight into like the sports world. It's like, well, no, it's not competitive at all. Like it's storytelling. In my opinion, D&D works best as a storytelling device, and the ability to be able to create these epic stories through the course of 50 sessions, not to see what monsters you can defeat with the character that you created. Yeah, you want up? I'll see if my cat wants to join us real quick. Come on. He's like nervous about it. Come on. Okay, he's distracted. Sorry. So yeah, a lot of people think like, oh, you should do like create like a competition type thing where it's a tournament, like people like face off against each other. I'm like, well, I think there is a place for that, but PvP I don't think was created in D&D as like much of a mechanic.
Right.
So it would be hard to, while I do think it would be very fun as like its own thing. Definitely for new players, I would not like try to have that where I'm like getting a bunch of my teammates or different athletes to like come and join for like a battle royale for in D&D, like level 20 characters, whatever. I don't think that would necessarily work, but I do think if you wanted to get like, I think last year there was it might have been on D&D Beyond. It got a whole bunch of people like playing PvP but battle royale, like level 20 characters, like Brandon, Abria, like all these different people. I think doing that, but having it be like a tournament style where like you were able to get it like story driven and having like rivalries happen, like stuff happen in between like rounds. I think that sounds very cool.
Yeah, I think Realmsmith did something like that as well, cool. Which was pretty cool. Heck yeah. This is a weirder question, so forgive me coming out of nowhere, but do you think there's any correlation with the rise of D&D and also the rise of fantasy football? Because fantasy football kind of feels like what we do with created characters, but they're just using real people.
Yeah, I think going back to my original point of like people wanting more freedom and more like kind of ownership over what they're able to do within games. I think the ownership aspect is really resonates with me in terms of the fantasy football like side of things. Having people be able to choose like who's on their team, who starts, who doesn't play, and get that possibility, like opportunity to be able to have a little bit of say over like what happens, even though it's like such a limited scope where it's just like between like them and 9 friends or whatever. But I know that fantasy football was definitely like, I feel like, I don't think it's peaked necessarily, but it definitely rose to higher levels of fandom like pretty early on. Like I remember those fantasy football commercials with like pick me for your team, and the dude's like punching his hand through a brick wall to catch a ball. Like those commercials were awesome, but I'm pretty sure those were like back in like 2008 or whatever. And I know D&D has been big for a long time, but it didn't really have its renaissance until like 2014 to 15, 16, something like that.
Yeah.
So I think that it probably didn't necessarily coincide, but I think the psychology of it probably has some overlap.
Yeah, I couldn't help but notice that, and I have actually seen people get curious about D&D from fantasy football. It's the weirdest thing. It's having a football player that is into fantasy. I just had to take the opportunity to ask.
Honestly, like the thing I haven't dipped my toe into yet, which I'm really excited to, is Blood Bowl. I know that it's like right up my alley, and I really want to try Blood Bowl. I didn't realize just until recently that it was it's just like a video game. I thought it was like a different version of like Warhammer, basically. Like you play with like different figures on a board. And if it is, please let me know, because I would love to paint up my own team and like create like my own Blood Bowl team.
Yeah, I know that they have those games going at Geeky Tees. Like there's a whole league over in LA. that my friend runs, and
I'm
people,
hopefully going to Geeky Teas for the first time on Monday.
Oh heck yeah!
With a cool little group. Yeah.
Yeah, if you see my friend Darby, say hi.
I will.
But like people get really intense into Blood Bowl, so I kind of want to try it too, but I'm just now learning to paint, so like I'm trying to pace myself.
Yeah. No, I've been painting a little bit on my stream over at Johnny Stanton IV Twitch stream. And I haven't been doing it recently, but I've been playing Cult of the Lamb for a little bit, trying to get back into streaming now that I have my setup again. And very soon, I think I'm going to be painting more with a cool little sponsorship that I can't really reveal yet. But
that's awesome.
I'm very excited to be able to get back into that.
Heck yeah!
I much respect to anyone doing like the streaming. It's like individual streaming. I have a hard time with that myself because it's very hard to set your own schedule, adhere to it, and then stick around for the whole time to deliver that content.
And then to have the pressure of being the only entertainment that's trying to keep, like, there's nothing like, sharing the screen with like two other people like this, where it's like, we're having a great chemistry, we're talking back and forth, where it's just me, like just painting and like, hey, look, it's fun, right? This is fun to watch. And like having to like continually do that is like, it's a little bit stressful, but I feel like I've gotten into a little bit of a groove and that my viewers are enjoying it.
Yeah, I always feel guilty if I'm quiet for too long.
Oh, me too, for sure.
Yeah, so it's just like, all right. So there is another question that we ask here, which is, you are the God Emperor of the TTRPG community for one day. You can make any 3 things you want to have happen in the scene happen. If you want a company to, if you want to create a company out of nothing, it's as big as Wizards. It's as simple as a snap of the finger. What do you do?
Oh man, I think I automatically fund any indie TTRPG Kickstarter, because I know that there are like people love them. There should be more in the world, and I don't think money should be a reason why you can't get something like that made. 2, I make death saves roll in private between the player and the DM.
Thank you.
Because that increases the drama so much. And actually, on top of that, something that I've been doing that I forgot to do last night in my game, we had 2 death save rolls. So a nice little home rule that I like having is whenever you roll a death save, you have to flash back to something in your life, that like your life is flashing before your eyes, and you have to tell the table about something that's happening that like happened in your past, where you get to like kind of reveal a little bit of the background, whether it's you're improvising it or something you thought about before.
Yes.
Number 3, that's a tough one. I want to I've already done my rule change. I did like kind of like the meta aspect of the world, and then, oh man, why is this third one so hard?
So it's the third one that gets people.
I make I'm successfully able to create a campaign with Marshawn Lynch as one of the players. I think that's definitely number 3.
Oh, so I love the Bears, but he's my favorite player. Like the dude.
It's so understandable. Yeah.
I'm only here so I don't get fined.
I'm only here so I don't get fined. It's great.
I have one of those shirts still. Like, it's my favorite. All right. No, those are.
I think getting Jameis Winston at a table too would be pretty great.
Oh
yeah.
But I can't tell you enough how much I love that death save rule, because nothing drives me crazier than somebody going, "Hey, did you fail a death save? Yeah. Okay, let's go heal." Like, no, you see me go down and that's all you know. You can't tell in the middle of the sword fight that I'm dying.
Right. So I that's definitely something that like I kind of leave it up to the players in my game, but I think it's a great way of like you don't know if when I've rolled 2 death saves, you don't know if I'm 1 away from dying or 1 away from going up or what's going to happen. Like, you need to, if your priority is to come heal me, then you should come heal me. And if you want to wait and risk it, then go wait and risk it.
I played a game where we whispered it to the GM, and I rolled 2 1s. So they assume like, okay, we'll get to them turn 3 and it'll be fine.
Right.
No, fam, I was going.
Better have a cleric in your party.
We had a paladin with Revivify.
There you go.
Which I don't know. I'm a little iffy on Revivify. I feel like it's a little too easy.
Hey, there's always counterspell.
You gotta be a real dickhead of a GM.
I'm gonna do it at some point. Make them use those. Make them do it after combat, or make them use what's it called when you it's the 1,000 gold piece one, where you come back in a different body. I can't think of the word for it.
Reincarnation.
Reincarnate. Thank you. Yeah, just have one of those handy.
I feel like countering a Revivify is a DM achievement. Like the trophy should pop up over your head after you do it.
It's a little hat that says asshole. But yeah, that, and then I make my players go through a little bit more of a hoop, and it's kind of just my own thing. Like, I feel like diamonds don't necessarily have to be extremely rare within the game. Like, they can be valuable, but finding them to be rare doesn't always have to be the hard thing. In my game, I wanted there to be a presence of soul coins within the game. And you have to use an arcanist has to combine a soul coin with a diamond to instill it with the life-giving energy to be able to revivify or reincarnate something. So that's another little home rule that I have, is like, if you find a diamond, it has to be like instilled with like the soul of a soul coin, basically.
Oh, I like that.
Really
At one point, I was tooling around with replacing the diamond requirement for an item that has attachments, like an emotionally attached item.
Yeah.
So you would have to make the argument like, this is what this item means to me, and I'm sacrificing it to bring somebody back. But that got a little complicated in the weeds. So I was just like, never mind, we'll just stick with the diamond.
You could potentially still do that, something that's sentimental, but still have like a monetary cost attached to it.
That's the word I was looking for. Sentimental.
Yeah, no, I like that idea. Yeah, especially if it's like an item of a certain rarity, like a magic item of a certain rarity, like would have like a certain value to it.
Yeah.
Like I was imagining like the barbarian sacrificing his weapon or something. Just like, oh, yes.
Yeah.
But I can tell that everybody on the street right now is here for the feels when it comes to these games, and I love it. All right. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna sort of shift it, not to one of our standard questions, but to just sort of something that I'm torn around with right now.
Okay.
So we talked a little bit about that sort of cross section of nerd space and jock space, and sort of pivoting off of that, let's talk plays of the game. What is one moment that has happened to you at a TTRPG table that you would put on a Dungeons and Dragons equivalent version of ESPN highlight reels?
I have 2 moments off the top of my head. The first one that happened was not to me. It was not necessarily directly involving me. The second one was. I'll say the first one was playing in my buddy Strahd game. We were playing in person this off season, and or at least no, it was actually all on Roll20 the whole off season until the finale, which we got to do in person, which was very cool. And my buddy's run Strahd like 4 or 5 times, so he's kind of running his own version of it. It was my first time playing through Strahd, and we're fighting Strahd. It's like, this absolute badass who's like, we're not doing anything against that he's not able to just immediately recover from. And we're trying to figure out, like, do we need to run? Do we need to just like take this L and try to get out of here? and one of the party members who had prepared himself with a wooden stake, it's like, I want to try to like surprise Strahd and like hit him through the heart. It's like, okay, well, like we're trying to like figure out the reasoning through it. It's like, no, technically within the rules of Strahd, you have to like hit him in the heart when he's with the wooden stake, like if he's at 0 hit points or knocked out or whatever. But like our DM said, if you roll a natural 20 to hit him, to hit him with the stake, it'll hit him through the heart. And he rolled a natural 20, and it was like the craziest natural 20 that I can remember. Like we were losing our minds. And then the other moment, which was we were playing in like a very early game. This was back in like 2018, I think. Early game for me, like only like my second group. And I'm playing a Minotaur Hexblade Warlock, which before Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, it was not like min-maxed by any means. Like way too much strength for a Hexblade or whatever. But I loved this character. He had a Texan accent. He was super fun. And we're fighting against this. I forget what they were necessarily representing, but I think it was like a king, a queen, a jack, and an ace or something like that. And we were fighting the last monster of it. It was the king, and he was just destroying us, just hitting us like 7 times in a round or whatever. And I know at this point that I need to like, okay, I can teleport in there and try to take 2 swipes at him and just like smite, like Eldritch Smite on both of them and do as much damage as possible. But I'm going to be stuck right next to him and I'm at low HP. So let me take this, bite this bullet, and I'm going to teleport to him. I hit twice. I smite both of them. I ended up doing like 100 points of damage. It was not like so gnarly. And the next turn, he takes like 3 swipes on me. I'm down. I'm dead. My character is gone. And then our wizard, like our level 10 wizard or whatever, pulls out the scroll of Power Word Kill and rolls it. He's like, okay, well, you're going to have to roll above a 19 on your intelligence check to see if you can cast it. And he rolls a natural 20. And and then we're like thinking like, okay, the scroll works, like we can cast the spell. Was he under 100 hit points? And he's like, with 97 hit points remaining. It was like such a cool moment. It was like it made sacrificing my character so worth it.
I find like the more people involved in a moment, the better it feels, because that's just that's teamwork right there.
Yeah.
Every part of that had to work in order for it to go through. Are there any embarrassing moments at the table, like flubs where you rolled a 1? Any bloopers?
Yeah, there was one moment in that same campaign where I felt really bad. As this Hexblade Warlock, obviously, like I have a good amount of charisma and can talk in front of in front of like NPCs and stuff. But and this was more like not so much a dice issue as much as it was like something that I learned from, which was allow characters who are built for the moment, or who the DM built this moment for, to take lead. We had a bard who was like a bard that was in this, like from this town, and trying to negotiate with this NPC that he had a history with. And I accidentally like, I'm going to be able to like convince him to whatever. I forget exactly what it was. And then I ended up not only rolling badly, but also kind of taking this moment away from him. And DM was like afterwards, like, hey, I would have like, just so you know, I think it would have been smarter if you like let him take the lead on that one. I'm like, well, I feel like a jerk now, but yeah, it's good. It's a good lesson for sure.
Absolutely. I think we've all had that moment where we stepped in front of the camera when it wasn't our scene.
Yeah.
I'm trying to recall a moment where I've done that. Oh yeah. It's not a good one. I interrupted somebody in the conversation with them and their god. That was not a great moment for me. It doesn't get more, maybe don't, than that. So I like to ask folks, do they have a TTRPG bucket list, which is like, are there things that you want your characters to do that they haven't done yet?
everybody wants a good character death, and while that was like about as close as I could get to a really great character death in that one campaign, one, I haven't had one since, and two, I it wasn't like against a boss. It was like against a super tough enemy that was more of like a side quest type thing. I want there to be like a great sacrifice and character death that happens in like the heat of like the final battle, you know. I think that would be something that was super cool. That, and then I also want to cast Power Word Kill as a player, as a character. I feel like at most campaigns you end up taking like Wish is that 9th level spell, or you choose something else, able to get to level 17 at all. But getting to cast Power Word Kill as a player in a long-term campaign as like just one of like your daily spells, just like, oh, I haven't used it yet, let me just use them. No, kidding. But I think that would be very cool, is to be able to play at that high level of a wizard, but I haven't played a wizard that long before.
So what would your Power Word Kill word be? Usually my healing words are insults. So like I always ask this question when a spell says it's a word.
Yeah, there was a really good one in Dungeons and Daddies. For I don't know if you guys watched that, and I don't want to spoil this campaign one for anybody who hasn't listened to it yet, but there's a great one coming from a villain that was like a D's nuts joke. And I think that would just be so funny. It was a great moment, and it was just, I think having that be like your wizard's Power Word Kill would be great.
Power Word Bofa.
Yeah.
You're like the third person to recommend Dungeons and Daddy, so I'm gonna have to. It's sit amazing. Down and watch.
I've become friends with one of the people on the show, and she's awesome, and they're so funny.
I'm definitely gonna have to give that a look. There's a bunch of TikToks about it as well that really have me interested in it. Speaking of, are you involved? What social media platforms do you use most frequently? Are you on D&D TikTok?
I definitely am most active on Twitter. At Johnny Stanton IV, then Instagram after that, same handle. Obviously Twitch, and I do very little TikTok. I don't do too much on like D&D TikTok, although I do have a friend who is very big in that world. Brandon Tharp with the Cantrip Cast does like all those Dungeon Master therapy sessions that you might have seen on TikTok, and he does a really good job with that. And he did a good job. He actually DM'd that charity game with the Bria and Iffy and my teammates Miles and Wyatt, and he did an amazing job with that. And I got to be in one or two of his videos talking about doing the Dungeon Master therapy stuff. So like if I can get into D&D TikTok with his help, I think that's probably the easiest way of doing it. But you know, there are some people who are like so good at it that I'm like, I'll wait my turn.
It gets addicted. Like when I downloaded TikTok, I was like, I'm just curious. I'm just gonna see what this is about. I'm not actually gonna get addicted. And then I got addicted. So be careful. So last question before break, because I think we're coming up on our hour mark.
We are, yes.
So you've mentioned wanting to get into designing. I'm curious, are you strictly interested in designing for D&D 5th edition, or have you kind of had a chance to take a peek at 1D&D, and would you like to start designing for that as well?
You know, in game in terms of like rule changes, balancing isn't the thing that I feel the most drawn to, or the thing that I might be the best at. More like writing, I think, would probably be the thing that I'd be most had the most fun with. So far with 1D&D, I haven't seen too many changes that I feel like have been necessary or fun or as beneficial as some other ones that I can see happening. I'll still wait to see until like the actual rule set comes out. But the beta rule set is hasn't really like drawn me in too much.
Yeah.
So I can definitely see my friends and I like sticking to 5th edition for a while until that stuff gets figured out. And now I sound like one of those old heads, like, oh, I'm never playing 5th edition. I'm going to stay AD&D my whole life. But yeah, I'll wait to see until the final rule set comes out, and then then I'll just end up playing whatever when everybody else is playing anyway.
I mean, like, honestly, I felt the same way. I read some of the changes that they made to paladins where we can't smite on crits, and I got real sad.
Yeah, you can't smite on spell attacks. You can't. Yeah.
I immediately turned into one of those old heads. It wasn't even subtle. I was like, how can they change things? I like it the way it was.
Yeah. It seems like they're trying, like, I don't think D&D inherently should be a power fantasy alone, but taking away a lot of that power fantasy elements, I think, is not cause for an improvement necessarily. It does not necessarily mean an improvement in the game. I think people play D&D to feel cool and for their characters to have cool, fun moments, and if you're gonna take a lot of those things away, it's going to be harder to bring as many people in. I don't think it's necessarily even simplifying the game. I think a lot of these things, like the more limitations you put on them, I think limitations does draw creativity, but it can also like really take away from the experience that a lot of people have.
Yeah, I really am rooting for 1D&D, mainly because I do love the digital integration of it. I mean, I'm in Chicago, and a lot of my friends are like on the West Coast, so like having something built from the ground up so that we can play together, that appeals to me. It's just I want that with my 5th edition rules.
Yeah, of course.
Are there any non-Dungeons and Dragons systems that you've tried or any that you'd like to try?
Yeah, so I mentioned that I'm going to be going over to Geeky 2 soon. That's to be able to run a game of 10 Candles with some friends that I just met. I played in one game and I loved it last year. That was over at Level 1 Geek. They just posted that to their YouTube channel. And that was super, super fun. That I've been wanting to play it for a long time, and what better time than spooky season? My go-to game every October in the past has been Dread. I love running Dread. I had two games that I wrote up and created, and I think I've run it 3 times, twice for my D&D group and then once for my teammates. What else? I enjoyed Kids on Bikes the one time I played it, and I definitely contributed to that 2nd edition Kickstarter that's going on right now. What else? Crash Pandas is super fun. I have played. Oh gosh, I played Call of Cthulhu. I think once. I think that's probably about it. Without reaching too far into the depths of everything. But D&D definitely takes up about 95% of what I play. But there is a lot that I want to play. Otherwise. I actually got this really great system agnostic story module called oh gosh, what is it called? I want to get the name right. I'm gonna just look up the word, what I think it's called real quick. So it is called Extraction from Demon Fucked Cleveland 1996. It is a module that won an award this year. That don't know what them to run under yet, because it's not really D&D like focused. I need to figure out like what system to be able to run it. If you've run it in chat, and like let me know, because I want to know what system to run it under. But it's hilarious. It's very like Doom inspired, and also like Escape from New York inspired. So I want to run it, but I just need to figure out the perfect like system to run it for.
Awesome. I think on that note, we might want to just take our quick break. But usually it's about 10 minutes. But we'll be back in about that time with our second half of the show, which is affectionately referred to as the Dark Roast. So everybody get some hydration in you, get up and stretch, and we will see you soon. Welcome. And we're back. Hello, welcome back,
Hello.
everybody. We are back with the Dark Roast, which is, we ask, it's not that bad. We ask a couple deeper topics, including our That Guy segment. So, without further ado, is it Petty Prime Time?
Yeah, I think it's Petty Prime Time. So, Johnny, Petty Prime Time is a chance for you to, if you've got anything on your chest and you want to just subtweet to the void, this is where we let it out. So, for example, for me, it would be something like, stop sending me emails to promote something that I've already promoted. Like, I know who I'm talking about. And that's good enough for me. So that is prime. That's petty prime time. So if you've got any pettiness that's just living in your chest and you want to let it out, this is the time and this is the place.
Okay. Oh man, I don't know if this isn't against a specific person, but it's more against a corporation who will remain anonymous. But let's just call them Rainforest. I think you guys understand who I'm talking about. And first off, I know that you guys have had Brennan on the show, correct?
Yeah.
I can only imagine this segment for Brennan, that he was able to just unleash his demons upon your chat. But it won't be like that for me. But if I buy something off of your website, Rainforest, screw it. There's no need to like hide it. Amazon. If I buy something off Amazon, why are you continuing to advertise that same product to me? Like, the old idea is like, I bought a toilet off of you, Amazon. Why do I need to buy another toilet? Why do you think why is this another like recommended item?
But what about second toilet?
Who needs 2 toilets? No, I'm kidding. No,
it's programmed by Jeff Bezos. He needs like 80 toilets.
Yeah, it's not that much of a complaint, but it's like, because you can avoid them, obviously. But there's no point in like advertising something that you already sold me. And why not think of like complimentary items that might go along with it? Start selling me toilet paper. Like I don't necessarily need a second toilet. I just bought a toilet. I don't need to replace all the toilets in my house at the same time.
This is why I love Petty Prime Time, because I can feel the frustration. And Anita, you got any petty you got to get off your chest?
Actually, no. I'm petty free this week.
Gasp!
I do have a skull kitty though.
Oh, okay.
That's very cute.
Mostly just I wanted to change it to skull kitty because it's spooky season and I realized that I could. Not because I'm upset about anything.
Okay, because that's what that's for. I was about to be like, that means you're upset at me. No, okay. And the second part of this is TTRPG confessions, which is if you've done something at a table that you feel bad about, this is where you can confess your sins. We give you your atonement, and you're free to leave that weight behind.
I definitely gave a good one with the stealing the spotlight from that one character.
I think that might count.
Yeah. As far as something else, I'm trying to think of something as a DM, what I've done. Anytime I tell a player no, I don't really feel good about it. I try to avoid telling a player no that they can't do something because it's D&D, it's a fantasy world. I should be able to tell them you can't do this, but you can do this, right. Which I try to do all the time. But actually, here's one. So I love giving dream sequences to my characters. I think every DM loves it. I'm not very good at having it be an interactive dream because personally, I think it's a really, really hard thing to role play as a player, having a dream that of like a situation that was just thrust upon you, and then having to adjust and like be in this very foreign scenario. It can be like very abstract and like you're in a cloud. Like, what do you do? I'm like, I don't know, move forward, I guess, or just stand there. Like, what do you want me to do? It feels like you're trying to do what the DM wants you to do to be able to figure out like what the dream is supposed to tell you, which I don't think is necessarily conducive to role playing. You're just kind of like trying to ride the tracks that the GM has already created. So when I do dream sequences, I try to make it much more like a cutscene happening in front of the character. But I didn't take that own advice that I gave myself recently when I gave a dream sequence to my fiance, Maddie, who's a moon druid who is from like this hidden kingdom. That's like she accidentally allowed like a visitor into the kingdom when she was a child and was punished for it. And the kingdom has like this Gaius ritual that like causes any visitors that come in to like have to like take this ritual to like never share it or else they die basically. So I had this long sequence, a dream sequence that I like put a lot of effort into, but I kept asking her like, what do you do? Like, what do you do with this like information that I've given you? Like, what are you going to do? And I knew that I would basically just continue her on the tracks that I had already written, like pre-written for like the dream, but I could tell like she was not enjoying it. Maddie doesn't like to necessarily be put on the spot like that. Yeah. And especially, she said that she was like, I thought you knew that like I wouldn't want to do that sort of thing because I was so focused on like what I was going to do. They were trying to set up like this defense for this heist that they knew was coming, that they had like set up as like a honey trap type thing for like this world's greatest thief. And what they didn't know is that the thief was like a character from her backstory. So I was trying to lay in like at the very start of the session, I was trying to lay in all of these like hints and kind of like foreshadowing as if like something from her past is going to return. But she was so focused on like what they were going to do to defend for this heist that it took her mind completely off of that. And she was trying to recover. And she just ended up being in a bad mood after that, which I felt really badly about. And I should have taken a break in the middle or cut it short, but I put all this effort into it that I didn't want to like go to waste. And I know the other people really enjoyed it, but it was specifically for her character. Yeah. And that once I realized she was not feeling it and was not like, was not into like the platter that I had set up for her, I should have just been like, okay, let's just move on. Like you wake up from your dream. I think afterwards she kind of understood like why I did it, especially with like the reveal of like this character being from her past. But being able to recognize when someone is in like is not feeling what you're doing, like it didn't go so far as being something where it needed to be have like a line or a veil or like move on in that sort of sense. She was definitely trying to like tough it out, but being able to read my players is something that I want to pride myself on, and not doing a good job of it there was something that I'm like, well, I didn't, I need to get better at that.
I mean, I'd even say recognizing it after the fact is still something. There are some people that I think egos can get in the way, where it's just like, oh no, I wasn't wrong, the player was wrong. So right. Like that's still much credit due. Atonement, you have to buy your fiance a set of dice.
Fair enough.
You are forgiven.
Yeah.
And the last question that we have for you here, and this is the big one. This is the one that we've had since the beginning of the show. If you've been at a TTRPG table long enough, you've probably had the misfortune of playing with that guy. That guy is a veritable black hole of fun at the table. Somebody that if they were yeeted into the sun, your experience would increase tenfold. I've said this a billion times now. Yeah. So, do you have a that guy story?
Yeah, in one of my groups, let me foreshadow this with the fact that, or not foreshadow, but kind of preface this with the fact that when I found my first group that wasn't my teammates or the group that I had found at the comic book shop, which was kind of had a couple of that guys in there, but I was so inexperienced, like I was not enjoying it because of them. But the first group that I had joined outside of those two groups was a group that I found on Reddit, on r/LFG, looking for group. I found a really, really great group of guys that I'm still friends with now. And I just completely like lucked out. Like I'm sure all of the RPG horror stories are like, a lot of them are based off of like groups that they don't know. And this was a group that I didn't know, but then became friends with and became really comfortable with. So I'm home because I broke my ankle with the Vikings. I'm like recovering on my own and I'm playing D&D like twice a week with this group. And it's like, we're just really going through this story. And I was one of 4 people in the group. 2 of them, the DM already knew. And then the other one actually had his first session with the group at the same time as me. And all of us got along great. Like, it was a great group that we were playing together, which I think caused the DM to be a little bit more confident with the success rate of r/LFG. Not that it's a bad way to find a group, but not all of them are going to be winners. So when a 5th member of the group was introduced off of r/LFG, nobody really got the feel from him, like like, we didn't get good vibes, in short. And I think when you're meeting a new group of people, I totally understand not everybody is in like able to read social cues in like, the same way. So I'm not necessarily faulting him for that, but we are definitely giving like kind of cues that like we weren't feeling what he was doing at certain times, for whatever reason. But he just like wasn't picking it up. And it got through like 3 sessions, and all of the players at the table were like, "Hey, DM, I'll be honest, we're not liking this guy." And we've talked about him before, and this was like, we want to hear him out. We want you to be able to talk to him first. Like, this is over the course of the 3 sessions that we just weren't really feeling him. And we're like, "Hey, I don't know if we want to continue playing him, because he's playing, the edgelord character. He's playing somebody who's going against the rest of the party. He's like instigating fights with the rest of the group. And like, this is somebody that we don't know, as somebody that's, it's okay. And it's, at certain times with people that you're very comfortable with, that you have great chemistry with. But
it's hard
when it's somebody that you
sometimes someone just throws off the whole like groove of the party.
And that and also it was absolutely like throwing off the groove of the party, but also like wasn't really necessarily going through that growing period in which did you kind of like grow understand the chemistry that like you're inserting yourself into, right. And kind of like kind of easing your way in. He kind of came on a little too strong. So all in all, we ended up asking the DM to uninvite him from the group, which he did, I think, in what I'm very, very sure was in a very graceful way. Unfortunately, the social cue of not really trying to like, I don't know, he kind of ended up texting everybody individually and saying like, "Hey, like, I'm sorry, I wish that like you guys would have said something." I'm like, "Well, we asked the DM too. It's not really our place to say something to somebody else at the table. And like, could you tell me like what we wanted to do better? Like what you wanted me to do better?" And I'm like, "Oh man, like that's not." I felt like it was a really bad feeling, because I don't want somebody to not be able to play D&D with us, but it was just something that like we had our group and it was going really well, and it wasn't really something that we needed to that we weren't vibing. And
there's nothing wrong with protecting the energy of the table. Like,
so I felt really bad about it. I know everybody else at the table felt really bad about it, but that's as close to that guy as we have. Like, he wasn't fun at the table. There were a bunch of different reasons why why it didn't work out and why he was that guy, but it's still not something that I feel good about, like, kicking him out, because I think there's a group for everybody. And I think, lessons can be learned and everything. And I've probably been that guy at some point too. And we all hope to not be that guy as much as we can in our lives.
Yeah, that's actually why we started doing the before it was just the that guy segment, but we started to do the TTRPG confession, because it's just like there are points where we are that guy. It's just sometimes you just don't get on with certain people. There's nothing wrong with that. That's just kind of part of the hobby.
Right.
Sometimes you just got to accept that not everyone is going to be the right fit for your table, and you're not going to be the right fit for every table.
Oh, yep, absolutely.
But I think on that note, we're gonna start wrapping up for the day, so everybody can get about their mornings, get some things done. Johnny, why don't you tell everybody who you are, where folks can find you, and we'll get set on heading out of here for today.
Sure.
Rockin'.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm Johnny Stanton the Fourth. You can find me at Johnny Stanton IV on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. I think on TikTok, but there's not a whole lot I'm doing on there. So no need too much to do that. But yeah, I've been streaming Cult of the Lamb on Tuesdays and Thursdays on my Twitch account. Hopefully you'll be able to see me on a couple different things moving forward that hasn't necessarily happened yet. So I don't want to like start promoting it yet, but, just follow me on social media to be able to see where that's going. And yeah, that's about it. Hopefully have a lot of different things going on in the future, that I think are in the works, and would love to be able to tell you guys about it next time.
Heck yeah. It was great talking with you. Noir, who are you? Where can folks find you?
I'm TheNoirEnigma. You can find me all over the internet as TheNoirEnigma. That's Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, and my website that just launched last week. Every Monday you can find me on Q Times, where I play the Demi-Plane sponsored Beacon actual play with the Stream Punks. This week, I believe on Tuesdays, you can find me playing Traitorous. Oh no, it's Thursday. You can find me playing Traitorous with AEW's Athena. It's a good time all the way around.
I love Athena.
Oh my gosh, she's fantastic.
She's great.
she makes some really wild decisions in this game.
I played in my first streamed game with Athena and Alicia Murray, and it was such a good group. And Kaylee Bray was our DM.
I'm jealous.
Yeah.
Kaylee is amazing.
Yeah.
On Fridays, you can find me over on Gen Con TV, where I host the nerdy table takes. And then you can find me here every Saturday morning. Do we have our next guest?
We do. Our next guest is Nala Wu, or Jay, is coming to chat with us next week. Very excited to chat with them. But yeah, thank y'all so much. I'm Anita. You can find me here. And I think tomorrow I might actually be starting up my solo TTRPG stream called Solo Act. So you can find me here again tomorrow. I'm thinking it'll probably be tomorrow afternoon. And if you want to stop by and watch me play a spooky solo RPG, that's what I'm going to be doing. I'll be freaking myself out and maybe drawing a haunted house? ? Yeah, that's me. Thank you all so much for stopping by and hanging out. We are going to go on a quick raid over to our good friend Lovely. We'll go say hi to Sam. And again, Johnny, thank you for stopping by and chatting with us today. And thank you, everybody, for stopping by and hanging out with us. It has been a blast. But until next time, everyone, the ritual has concluded. Bye, everybody.
Bye, y'all.